Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Roundtable. We're now going to be talking about tight ends. So we're going to be referring to not that first tier of tight ends, but that second tier, looking at guys like Evan Engram, Vance McDonald, Jared Cook, Trey Burton, and Hunter Henry. So we're going to open it up with Nick to start, and we're going to go to Hunter Henry, who we talked about a little bit on the last episode. So, any other standing points about Hunter Henry and kind of why you think that he can kind of be that next tight end in line after the initial big three?
100%. So, obviously, we mentioned the red zone upside last time. 8 touchdowns as a rookie, led all tight ends in touchdowns that year. And I was incorrect on the actual percentage. I looked it up again. In terms of the targets in the red zone, it was 42% of throws went to tight ends, which was the first most, and then 34%, fifth most, when he's there. So tons of volume going to the tight end. And it's one of those things, was an outlier year, but Antonio Gates made his bread and butter in the red zone with Phil Rivers for so many years. It's a trend that I believe in. I think it's true. So the red zone volume's one, but then he also is a very good vertical threat. He's averaged 13.1 yards per catches over his first 2 years. That only trailed Rob Gronkowski and that's it. Only Rob Gronkowski over those 2 years span, and Vernon Davis, sorry. So, he can get vertical, he can score in the red zone, and with Tyrell Williams removed, they're going to need some verticality, even if it's in a different part of the field. I just see this is his first true year as the only tight end there in a high-volume role, especially in the red zone. I think he blows up and gets at least 10 scores and is a fantasy monster.
So the thing with the tight end that I've noticed is you look at the top 3 tight ends from last year, and I try to really look and see that to make my projections for what's going to happen. In a lot of those offenses, there was I guess Travis Kelce doesn't really fall into it because I think that he plays on the best offense and he's just really good. But with Ertz and Kittle specifically, they found themselves in offenses that were they were the only kind of shows in town for the most part. Kittle, all those receivers in the 49ers were hurt and Kittle blew up. Zach Ertz, a lot of those Eagles receivers were hurt and he blew up. So when I'm looking for the next breakout tight end, I'm looking for, what tight end is going to get the most opportunity? So when I look at guys and those guys that fall into that category out of this group are guys like Evan Engram, and my guy is Vance McDonald, because there is a huge amount of vacated targets. Antonio Brown is gone. We actually don't know where he is. If you have updates, please let us know where Antonio Brown, because I'm getting the sleeper app updates and no one knows where he is apparently. But there are so many vacated targets. Big Ben, he has newer receivers. Dante Moncrief is coming in. But he's had Vance McDonald. This is his another year with Vance McDonald in the system. And Vance McDonald, again, it's been a small sample size. Vance McDonald has not been able to stay healthy. But a lot of tight ends can't stay healthy. Trey Burton, he's hurt right now. But Vance McDonald, his sample size is he's extremely efficient. And I know that a lot of people have talked about that with O.J. Howard being extremely efficient in a small sample size. But Vance McDonald, again, he plays on another prolific offense that's really missing a large portion of targets, whereas Tampa Bay, there are more pieces around, So that's what I really like about Vance McDonald, because it's about yards after the catch. He's really good at that. And he played, so last year he ranked 10th in fantasy points scored, despite 17th in target share out of the tight ends, and he played 50% of the snaps. There's no Jesse James. And, I think if Vance McDonald plays 16 games, there's no way he doesn't finish as one of the top tight ends.
Yeah.
Big Ben loves to throw the tight end. Highest quarterback rating for Big Ben is to the tight end position.
For sure. I like both of those guys. I really do. But the one situation that, like you just talked about, just clear-cut volume.
Yeah. No, exactly.
Straight-up volume, Evan Engram. And I didn't ever want to put him there, but I can't not put him there.
Well, after you saw Daniel Jones,
Future Hall of Famer.
No, I can't not put him there just because of the sole fact that the volume is going to be so much higher than it's going to elevate him to that big three volume-wise. Now, what his offense does and what he's able to do with that, who knows? But he's got to be safe for a top 5 tight end and really to have a chance to elevate himself into that top 3. Like I said, I can't speak to who the quarterback's going to be all year. I can't speak to if this offense is going to move a ton. But if they do score touchdowns, most likely it's going to be Saquon Barkley or Evan Engram right now, especially with Golden Tate missing the 4 games. And not to say that Sterling Shepard's not going to be a huge part of this offense, because he is, but the fact that he's missing all training camp, maybe it takes him a couple games to get his wheels going. And Evan Engram we know coming out of college into the draft, he was drafted to be a wide receiver but play the tight end position. He was not ever drafted to be a blocker. That's what he does. He's going to be the wide receiver one in this offense, and you get to play him as your tight end.
And some stats to back that up, too, in terms of the sheer volume. When Odell was out, there's been 14 games where Ingram's played and Odell's been out. He's had 5 or more targets in every single one of those games and averages 8.2 targets per game over those. That trailed only Kelce and Ertz. So volume-wise, you have the best argument, no doubt about it. It's just a matter of, do they? I heard your hesitation. Do they get into the red zone?
What kind of quality volume?
Exactly.
Because, I mean, that's one reason I'm fading the New York Giants offense as a whole, just because we don't know who their quarterback's going to be. And more than likely, they're going to have 2 different quarterbacks this season. Never a good thing in that kind of situation, especially for fantasy purposes, because you never know which quarterback's going to target which. You know, exactly.
Agree,
so Evan Engram, I see his upside, but I'm not sold on him taking that next step, at least this season.
No, I get it too. And to be honest with you, some of the grades out of PFF probably weren't my favorite. You like to see what the things that Hunter Henry did. You like to see the things that O.J. Howard did to really gauge the breakout. But I take that as, he's had Eli. And he still has Eli. I get that. But what he did his rookie year with the volume, I'm starting to buy back into him as being the guy right after that top 4.
And they can move him around too. He's so athletic. We had a good Giants beat writer on. He called it musical chairs because they move Evan Engram so far and use him on such a variety of routes. So the volume and usage will be there, but as you said, it's the quality.
Yes.
Right. Is it going to be quality? 100%. If Daniel Jones looks like he did in the preseason and he starts all year, then maybe. But that was one drive, so we'll see. Eli Manning just. Ugh.
You know who I think will see some quality targets? Segue. Trey Burton, man. Trey Burton. Remember this guy last year? Everybody was hyping up on him preseason. Yeah. We're so quick to forget these guys just because they don't play out the way you want them to. Trey Burton was, all intents and purposes, he was very good at the tight end position. He had 77 targets, 54 receptions, 569 yards, 6 touchdowns. Now, he disappointed because everybody was super hyped. He was called the Travis Kelce in the Matt Nagy offense. So they're thinking he's going to be Travis Kelce. That's completely unrealistic. He still finished as the tight end 7 last year. So he's already not far off from finishing within the top 4, top 5 tight ends in 2019. It's a second year in this offense. He now has a rapport with Mitchell Trubisky. Matt Nagy likes him a ton. I don't see how he's going to be better than he was last year. And last year was a tight end 7. So to move him up 2 or 3 spots isn't far-fetched for me. So I like Trey Burton.
The only thing, though, is that gap from 1 to 7 is insane. I don't know.
It's 150 points.
It's crazy.
Whatever it is, yeah.
And I think, if we're trying to project who's going to be that next one that makes that jump to those insane points, there's so many mouths in Chicago, and their calling card is kind of, you don't know who's getting the ball and being unpredictable. I think to get to that next tier, you got to go with volume and you got to go with quality red zone usage, which you might find this year. They do move the ball well. But I just see so many other weapons there. I don't know if there's going to be enough volume to truly hit that top 3-4 elite tier, in my opinion.
And I think he could get more volume this season, though. 77 targets, not that much for this type of offense. Where if they really truly want to treat him like a Travis Kelce role, he should see an increase. And I think a lot of times we're thinking, no, if it didn't happen now, it's never happening. And you got to take second year into the offense into this equation. Now, that was Trey Burton's first year as a tight end 1 in his offense. He always had the shadow of Zach Ertz, and everybody was hyped on Trey Burton as soon as they did the Philly special. And, that's when he came to light, and everybody's like, oh, okay, yeah, we like this guy. But that was truly his first season as a tight end 1 in his offense, and he was a tight end 7. So I'm just saying, I think that given it the fact that it's his second year in this offense, I do see an increase in targets. I see an increase in production. I like Trey Burton a lot. And when we get to these guys outside of the elite, we can throw a name in anywhere. And the main thing I like about Trey Burton, he's completely free.
Yeah.
You can get him with his top 5 upside. You can get him for free in fantasy drafts.
Yeah, and I think, again, so I'm looking for that kind of that recipe for success to enter that elite tight end and bring it back to Ertz and Kittle. So the other thing that, a lot of studies have done, Mike Tagliere of Fantasy Pros has done a lot with running backs and tight ends, like sharing targets. And that they are they're the ones that are competing for a similar target load. And you don't see, it's either a team has a lot of high running back targets or a lot of high tight end targets, but those do not correlate well. You see it with James White. His numbers skyrocket when Gronk's not on the field.
Yeah.
There's no reason why. And then when you look at a guy like Kareem Hunt last year, Travis Kelce, when his numbers were really high, Kareem Hunt's were really low in terms of receiving. His was really efficient, but in terms of total volume, his receiving was really low. And so that's what I'm looking for. I'm like, okay, what tight end plays on a team that has a really bad pass-catching running back or doesn't have one at all? And when you look at these guys, Evan Engram has Saquon Barkley. Vance McDonald, they have James Conner, Jalen Samuels. Trey Burton has David Montgomery and Tariq Cohen. Hunter Henry, I would say, gets an edge here because, Melvin Gordon, but there still is Austin Eckler there. And then bringing up a guy like Jared Cook. We haven't talked about yet, but Alvin Kamara. And I try to look and see, out of those guys, what tight end would I say has the best chance of, being, competing better for targets against that running back? Which is, the worst pass-catching running back, out of that group of guys. And in this case, it really is it seems like a wash with this elite guys. But Jared Cook, though. I think, Nick, you were higher on Jared Cook.
Yeah, I'm real high on Jared Cook this year. I like him just as much as I like O.J. Howard, maybe even more.
The offense, obviously, is a big factor.
They're playing for the Saints. So, word out of camp already is that Jared Cook is already almost unguardable at times, just splitting the defenders up the middle and just running that seam route. And they've been, haven't been able to run that sluggo concept where it's a slant and a go combination to make it look like the tight end's running a slant, but really he just breaks off and runs that go. And they really haven't done that since Jimmy Graham. And when Jimmy Graham was a tight end for the Saints, I don't think he was too bad of a tight end, right?
1,500, 13.
Yeah, he averaged 140 targets, roughly 88 receptions, 1,100 yards, and 11 TDs. And Jared Cook last year had 68 receptions, 101 targets, 896 yards, and 6 TDs. Drew Brees is not the quarterback that you guys are dealing with. He's a future Hall of Famer. Mm-hmm. I mean, this guy is leading the NFL in records, I believe. I think he has 15 NFL records. 2 of his records is most career completions and highest completion percentage. I mean, sign me up for that tight end. Completions, percentages, future Hall of Famer quarterback, high octane offense that plays indoors. A lot.
I mean, he could be the third option in this offense for receptions because obviously Michael Thomas number 1, Alvin Kamara number 2, and then it's kind of up in the air after that.
But in that reference though, with those guys are really, their targets are very close to the line of scrimmage. Right. Whereas you have Ted Ginn, Traquan Smith, but they're kind of okay. What do you expect from them? And it again goes back to the wide receiver, tight end edge. Yeah. It's okay, so then who's going to get targeted down the field? Mm-hmm. Are you buying into Traquan Smith and Ted Ginn being that? Or it's going to be Jared Cook down the seam? Right. I can picture that right now. Him running down with the Superdome, Jared Cook, running down, because that's what his kind of thing. He's been. That's kind of what he does.
He's 6'5", ran a rumored 4.4 as a tight end, had a 40-inch vertical.
Drew Brees has 7 seasons of 5,000 yards. Yeah. I mean, give me the tight end in that situation. You said Alvin Kamara's a stud RB, and he's going to see his targets, and Michael Thomas is a stud wide receiver. He's going to see his targets, but that helps free up the tight end. Gronkowski, Jimmy Graham, these tight ends that we talk about, they played with quarterbacks like Tom Brady and Drew Brees. We didn't see tight end numbers that are astronomical unless they were with a really good quarterback. And I feel that I have the best quarterback in this argument. I feel like I have the best team in this argument, the best offense in this argument. I'm high on Jared Cook. Maybe I don't like his ADP. Maybe I'd rather get another wide receiver running back there. But if we're just solely debating about the tight end position here, between these 4 guys, I like my chances with Jared Cook.
I mean, they did already say to you, Brent mentioned Jimmy Graham, that Dan Campbell, the tight end coach, said we're dusting off, the old playbook with Jimmy Graham, a lot of those concepts you brought up. there's tons of upside. They live in the red zone, a big body. Breeze has said he wins those contested catches. So I love all that. I think the thing that some of these other guys have going for him a little bit over Jimmy Graham would just they're younger, and this is his, he's the third, as you guys alluded to, and the Saints are getting run heavier by the year. I don't know if that's to protect Breeze. He doesn't seem like he's falling off by any means. I'm not saying any of that, but they do just seem to be riding the run game a little more. So if they continue that trend, and he's only the third, will the volume be there that, say, if McDonald gets the number 2 role, or if Hunter Henry's the clear number 2, that he might not be with Mike Williams. You never know, but I don't know. That's the one worry I'd have with him is there going to be enough volume if they keep getting this run heavy?
I think you guys made some great cases for every single one of them, but there's the reason why I'm choosing Evan Engram over them is because there's just less. I can't even say that there's less what ifs because this quarterback is a what if, but what if?
What if?
Yeah, what if Cook comes in and they use him like Jimmy Graham, which they haven't for years? What if this Chicago offense goes more towards the Philadelphia offense and he's displayed as Zach Ertz? What if he is the number 1 red zone target over a Mike Williams or Keenan Allen? So, like I said, at this point right now, I like those guys. And to be honest with you, I probably won't take Evan Engram in a draft because I think he's going to start vaulting. He's going to start vaulting up draft boards because of the volume. But I think he's the safer bet to have a chance of finishing that top elite tier.
As an OBJ owner last year, just watching that Giants offense, it was all Barkley. No one could get open, and Eli couldn't even get the ball to you if you were open. You saw OBJ frustrated as all hell. So, I feel the same way with Evan Engram. If you have a quarterback that just can't put the ball there, then it's just not going to work. And
yeah, that's the thing with me. I'm kind of debating in Engram, everything seems to be there. It's just the quarterback position that you just
I know,
because I look at this list of guys and it's Ingram's the only one that could out of this I think it's clear that Engram has the easiest way to the most targets of this list. I don't think that's up for debate at all. I think that's easily he'll get the most targets out of this list. Mm-hmm. So that's okay, check that off the box. But then it's okay, well they have an elite running back that also catches passes. So okay. So that's kind of a negative. And then you look at the quarterback, and I'd say, out of this list, Eli doesn't have upside, and it's where do you stand on Daniel Jones? Does Daniel Jones, unlock Evan Ingram's, upside?
But when do we even see that?
But we didn't have that option last year.
Yeah.
It was Eli the whole time.
That's true.
So
it exists at least, chance that it could be better.
And we've seen Eli with Evan Engram, and it's been, pretty good. Mm-hmm. But could it take that next step and then really vault Engram into that next, tier? And we also see, the one thing about Evan Engram is he's younger than all these guys. Mm-hmm. And tight ends take a long time to develop. So ultimately, and I'm getting into the kind of votes now and obviously get into other facts. I think ultimately with his age, as a young player, he's already basically kind of broken out. We don't see this from tight ends ever, break out as rookies. And that's something you have to really highlight. Oh my God, what he's done already as a tight end is crazy. Mm-hmm. And even in an offense that may or may not be efficient, it's it's too many targets. My vote's gonna go, so I'm gonna be off Vance dance because it's just too much projection for me at this point. And he's never played 16 games. Why would I, So I'm gonna vote for Evan Engram. I'm gonna get my vote in now. But if anyone else has any final thoughts.
I think in general, just a final thought on the whole discussion is I just love this tier. I love that you can get these guys that could be the elite tight ends in rounds 5 and 6, so you can have 2 horses and 2 target hogs and build those skill positions and then still get a guy that could be an elite edge. Because after this tier, you might as well not draft a guy till the last round. You just kind of punt the position. So there's 7 guys.
Darren Waller.
And it kind of,
that's my guy.
You could throw any Hail Mary up there. But this is the tier that I'm really targeting. And I would say probably I'm going to go with volume as of now, especially after seeing Daniel Jones. Just give me a glimmer of hope there could be talent at quarterback.
It's going to shift everything.
It shifts everything. The universe has shifted. No, but I think I lean Engram too. Just out of all of them, you talk about Ertz and Kittle. They're the target hogs of their team. He's the only one I could see actually being the target hog of that team. All the others are going to be second or third at best on those totem poles. So I go Engram too. I like it.
Yeah, I went Engram too. Obviously, I think the volume is just too much to ignore. And then some of the question marks with the other guys that you have in this tier, like switching teams or injury history or things like that, are just things I I'd rather stay away from and go with the volume upside. That's it.
So I'm okay with not convincing anybody with my picks. I'm okay with being on an island because I want to be the only one right. Okay, give me all the shares of the guys that I like and let them fall in ADP. I'll keep taking them. Trey Burton to me, man, second year in this offense. I know it sounds repetitive, but second year in the offense, going from tight end 7 down to a tight end 5 or up to a tight end 5 or 4 even, I can see it happening, and I feel very good about Trey Burton in 2019.
He's clearly the definition of the post-hype sleeper.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure in 2019.
For
sure.
And I like my island. Give me Drew Brees, the Hall of Famer. Give me the indoor games, the home games. Give me the weak defenses of Tampa Bay and, the Atlanta Falcons where tight ends can just run wild. Give me that tight end that, had 100 targets last year. Plenty of yards coming from, a Derek Carr. Now it's coming from a Drew Brees. So I'm sold on Jared.
Yeah, I think Jared Cook is kind of probably the most, for me at least, the most polarizing because he's the one that's, like you mentioned, like he's the one on the new team. So he has the new quarterback. So really, like, it's very hard to project because we don't know really how it will work out because he's been on teams with Hall of Fame quarterbacks. Like, and it hasn't worked. Right. It hasn't worked out. Exactly. Like he was better with Carr than with Rodgers. So it's like. There's a lot of questions.
It's also because Amari Cooper's gone.
Yeah. So
they had nobody.
They had nobody else.
He's a guy like you said, like if we're projecting upside, like I think that his range of outcomes is large.
I agree.
But I could definitely see him up there, and then also I could see him kind of falling out. But based on the pricing, like I think he's going appropriate. So.
Yeah, I agree.
Cool. So Evan Engram is the one that takes this round as entering that next tight end status of elite. So we are now going to wrap up for today. We're going to get into the next episode, which is going to be debating our favorite position. We love them as fantasy players, is the running back position. Nobody else seems to value them, especially, the high corporation NFL owners that don't value running backs, but we do. So we're going to have 2 more episodes. We're going to be talking about some tier 2 kind of running backs and then getting into some rookie running backs as well. So thanks for watching.